The INFJ's secret struggle. Can you relate? Welcome, INFJs. Whether you're someone who's just discovering what it means to be an INFJ or you've known for years that your personality is unique, you're about to dive into a topic that resonates deeply with your inner world. You might feel like your struggles are invisible to others, like you're constantly fighting battles that no one else sees. That is the silent struggle of the INFJ. A struggle that, even though you may experience it every day, remains misunderstood by many, including people closest to you. In this video, we're going to explore these silent battles INFJs face. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, misunderstood, or like there's a weight on your shoulders that nobody else can carry, this video is for you. By the end, I hope you'll not only understand your struggles more clearly, but also find new ways to approach and even overcome them. So let's get started. 1. The silent weight of empathy, feeling others' pain as your own. As an INFJ, you carry the emotional burden of others without even realizing it sometimes. It's one of the most powerful and painful parts of your personality. Your ability to deeply empathize means that you don't just understand people's pain, you feel it as if it's your own. You might be walking through a crowded space, and out of nowhere, you feel an overwhelming sense of sadness, anxiety, or even anger. It's as if these emotions were suddenly added to your emotional load, and you don't know where they came from. But the truth is, they are someone else's emotions that you absorbed, often without consent. Start practicing emotional boundary setting. It's okay to acknowledge other people's feelings, but it's essential to protect your own emotional space. When you begin to feel another's pain, take a deep breath, pause, and gently remind yourself that you are not responsible for carrying their emotions. 2. The struggle of not being seen, the desire for depth in relationships. INFJs crave deep connections, but often find themselves surrounded by people who seem content with surface-level interactions. You find yourself yearning for meaningful conversations, where you can explore ideas, emotions, and life's mysteries, but too often, you're forced to engage in small talk that leaves you feeling drained. At a social gathering, you might find yourself nodding along to people discussing the weather or celebrity gossip, but inside, you're aching for someone to talk to about the deeper aspects of life. You feel isolated, even when surrounded by people, because the connection you crave just isn't there. Seek out people who share your thirst for depth. This might not be easy, and it might take time, but it's worth it. Join groups or communities, online or in person, where open-hearted and thought-provoking conversations happen. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable in those spaces, it's how you'll find those rare, soul-deep connections. 3. The fear of rejection, why you hold back your true self. INFJs are often terrified of rejection. This fear stems from the deep connection they desire with others and the vulnerability it requires to be fully seen. You might hesitate to express your thoughts, feelings, or needs because you're afraid that doing so will cause others to push you away. Imagine sharing your true thoughts with someone, only to be met with confusion or, worse, judgment. That fear is something that many INFJs carry, and it often stops them from opening up about their deepest desires or struggles. Challenge your fear of rejection by taking small, safe steps toward vulnerability. Share one personal thought, feeling, or desire with someone you trust. You'll begin to see that being vulnerable doesn't always result in rejection. In fact, it often leads to deeper connection and understanding. 4. The paradox of being both introverted and highly empathic. You're likely an introvert, and yet, you often find yourself deeply invested in the well-being of others. This paradox creates internal tension. On one hand, you need solitude to recharge, yet you also feel the overwhelming urge to help and care for those around you. After spending time with a friend who's going through a tough time, you might feel emotionally drained, but you also feel that pull to check in with them again. It's exhausting, but you can't ignore that deep-seated need to be there for others. Recognize the importance of balance. It's essential to schedule downtime after emotionally intense interactions. Let people know you need space to recharge, and do so without guilt. You can be there for others, but not at the expense of your own mental health. 5. The pressure to always be the calm, wise one. People often look to INFJs for wisdom, calmness, and guidance. While this is flattering, it can be exhausting to constantly be expected to have all the answers. The pressure to be the one who knows how to handle every situation, to give everyone advice, can lead to burnout. You might feel like you're constantly holding the weight of others' expectations, which can make you feel isolated and misunderstood. Allow yourself to be human. It's okay to not have all the answers, and it's okay to say, I don't know, or I need time to think about that. By doing this, you relieve yourself of the unnecessary pressure to always be the wise, calm one. 6. The constant need for meaning, why you can't settle for mediocrity. INFJs are deeply driven by a desire for meaning in everything they do. Whether it's in their careers, relationships, or personal projects, they cannot settle for the superficial or meaningless. This can be a source of frustration, as many INFJs find themselves dissatisfied with the mundane or shallow aspects of life. You may feel disconnected from your job because it doesn't align with your values, even if you're good at it or it provides financial stability. This disconnect leads to a sense of emptiness and frustration that can be difficult to explain to others. Align your actions with your values. Take small steps towards a life that feels authentic to you. This could mean pursuing a hobby that brings you joy or slowly transitioning towards a career that aligns more with your passions. Find ways to inject meaning into even the small, daily tasks. 7. The weight of overthinking, when your mind won't shut off. Overthinking is a hallmark of the INFJ experience. You're constantly analyzing everything around you, the conversations, the emotions, the possibilities. This can be mentally exhausting, as your mind races through 1,000 scenarios, trying to predict outcomes or solve problems that may not even exist. After a social interaction, you might replay every word, gesture, and tone, wondering if you said the wrong thing or if someone misunderstood you. This cycle can be paralyzing. Practice mindfulness techniques to ground your thoughts. Focus on the present moment instead of letting your mind wander into hypothetical scenarios. Journaling can also help release some of the mental tension by allowing you to get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper. 8. The fear of losing yourself in others, the INFJs struggle to maintain individuality. INFJs have a tendency to lose themselves in their relationships. Because they care so deeply for others, they often put their needs and desires on the back burner in favor of their loved ones. This can lead to feelings of resentment, confusion, and a loss of self. You might find yourself doing things you don't want to do or neglecting your own needs just to please someone else. Over time, this erodes your sense of identity. Reclaim your individuality by setting boundaries and practicing self-care. Remember that you don't have to sacrifice your own needs for the sake of others. Take time for yourself and pursue activities that nurture your soul, whether it's reading, traveling, or creating art. 9. The burden of unmet expectations, the pressure to always be the perfect partner, friend, or leader. INFJs often face the pressure of being the perfect partner, friend, or leader. Others may look up to them for guidance, while others expect them to be emotionally available at all times. This external pressure can make INFJs feel like they're constantly performing, which can drain their energy and create frustration. You may feel like you can't show weakness, or that you have to always be the one who is strong and supportive for everyone else. Allow yourself to lean on others and share your vulnerability. It's okay to show weakness and ask for help. You are not responsible for carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. Communicate your needs and let others see that you are human too. 10. The silent struggle of being misunderstood, why no one gets you. INFJs often feel like their true selves are invisible to the world. Their complex thoughts and feelings often seem foreign to others, leading them to feel misunderstood. They may long for someone to truly understand them, but find themselves surrounded by people who don't. You might try to explain your emotions or your thoughts, only to have people dismiss or misunderstand what you're saying. Find a safe space where you can express yourself freely. Whether it's through writing, art, or a trusted friend, allow yourself to be seen and heard without fear of judgment. The more you practice self-expression, the more you'll find people who resonate with your authenticity. 11. The constant battle of overextending, saying yes when you want to say no. As an INFJ, your natural inclination is to help others, and you often go out of your way to support friends, family, or colleagues. However, this generosity can lead to a silent battle within yourself. You might find yourself saying yes to requests for help even when you're already stretched too thin, just because you don't want to disappoint anyone. This overextension can lead to burnout, frustration, and a sense of neglecting your own needs. A friend may ask for help moving or organizing an event, and even though you're already dealing with your own responsibilities, you feel guilty saying no, so you say yes and end up feeling exhausted or overwhelmed. Learn to assert your boundaries by saying no when you need to. Start small, with a simple "I wish I could help, but I need to take care of myself right now." Remember, it's okay to prioritize your well-being. People who genuinely care for you will understand that you need to preserve your energy. 12. The INFJ's hidden emotional turmoil, bottling up your feelings. INFJs often experience intense emotional turmoil but rarely show it on the outside. Due to their introspective nature, they tend to bottle up their emotions, thinking that others won't understand or that expressing their pain will burden those around them. This leads to a silent inner struggle, where they feel isolated in their emotional experience, even when surrounded by others. You might be dealing with personal heartbreak, disappointment, or stress but feel like you can't share these feelings with anyone because you're afraid of being perceived as weak or dramatic. Practice emotional release, even if it's in private. Write in a journal, engage in creative activities, or have a safe emotional outlet where you can freely express your feelings without judgment. When the emotional pressure builds, it's important to have a safe space to release it to avoid long-term internal turmoil. 13. The struggle of balancing idealism with reality. INFJs are known for their idealistic nature, constantly envisioning a better world, both for themselves and others. This inner vision can create an intense contrast with the reality of the world around them, which may not always align with their ideals. As they work towards their dreams, INFJs often feel disillusioned by the harshness of reality, leading to frustration and self-doubt. You may dream of building a career that allows you to help others or creating a relationship that is deeply fulfilling, but the world around you seems filled with obstacles that make those ideals feel out of reach. This mismatch can lead to feelings of helplessness. Accept that the world isn't perfect and that progress is often incremental. While holding on to your ideals is important, it's also essential to be flexible and realistic about the journey. Break your larger goals into manageable steps and give yourself credit for the progress you make, no matter how small. 14. The fear of disappointing others, the burden of people-pleasing. INFJs often place the needs of others above their own, fearing that they will disappoint someone if they don't go the extra mile. This stems from their deep empathy and desire to help, but it can also lead to a cycle of people-pleasing, where their own needs are constantly neglected. Over time, this can erode their self-worth and create resentment. You might find yourself agreeing to do things for others, even when it's not in your best interest, because you fear rejection or disapproval. Whether it's taking on extra work at your job or putting someone else's needs ahead of your own in a relationship, you often feel the weight of this expectation. Start setting clear and firm boundaries in all areas of your life. Practice saying no with confidence, without the fear of disappointing others. Remember, setting boundaries isn't about being selfish, it's about ensuring that you maintain your emotional health and well-being. People who truly care for you will respect your boundaries, and your relationships will thrive as a result. The struggles that INFJs face are deeply ingrained in their nature, and although they may feel like burdens at times, they also highlight the incredible strengths that make you who you are. Your empathy, your idealism, your need for depth, and your desire to help others are what make you a unique and powerful force in the world. But it's also important to acknowledge that these same traits come with challenges that no one else may fully understand. This is why it's so important to create spaces where you can be heard, seen, and understood. To set boundaries, honor your need for solitude, and cultivate self-compassion. You don't need to carry these silent struggles alone. By accepting your vulnerabilities and taking the time to care for your own well-being, you can continue to be the light in the lives of others without losing yourself in the process. If this video resonated with you, and you found yourself nodding along to these struggles, I encourage you to share it with fellow INFJs or anyone who may benefit from understanding what it's like to walk in your shoes. Stay safe, and see you in the next one.